Remember when you could walk into a dealership and drive out in a brand new car for under $20,000? Yeah, those days are gone. And here's the truth nobody wants to admit. They're never coming back. It's not just inflation or greedy automakers, it's something far more permanent. This is the death of cheap cars, and the reasons go deeper than you think. Welcome to Car Hacks and Money, where we break down the real economics of the car world and how it affects your wallet. Today, we're diving into the brutal reality of 2026 as auto market, where affordability has vanished, even for so-called budget models. We'll uncover why cheap cars are disappearing, how regulations and technology are reshaping the industry, and why even used cars are no longer safe havens for regular buyers. By the end of this video, you'll see why the age of affordable cars is over, and what you can still do to stay one step ahead. Once upon a time, cars like the Honda Civic, Toyota Corolla, and Ford Focus defined value. They were cheap to buy, simple to maintain, and built to last. You could get a solid fuel-efficient sedan for under $15,000, and it would run for a decade. That formula built millions of loyal customers, people who saw cars as tools, not status symbols. But fast forward to 2026, and the cheapest new cars on sale are nearly twice that price. Even entry-level compacts now start around $25,000, $30,000, and that's before taxes, dealer fees, and financing costs. And the wildest part? Automakers aren't even pretending to bring prices back down. Why? Because the industry has changed completely. Let's start with the obvious: technology. Cars today are packed with sensors, cameras, touchscreens, and complex software, things that simply didn't exist 10 years ago. Even the cheapest vehicles now come with advanced driver assists, airbags everywhere, emissions controls, and digital dashboards. That's progress, but it comes at a cost. Building a car that meets today's safety and emission standards isn't cheap. Every new regulation adds more parts, more engineering, and more testing, and automakers pass those costs straight to you. And then there's the rise of electrification. EVs are the future, but their batteries are still expensive, their components rare, and their manufacturing complex. Even though battery prices have fallen, they still make up 30 to 40% of an EV's cost. So when governments push automakers to go electric, they're also pushing the industry into a world where building cheap cars simply doesn't make financial sense. Remember the Ford Fiesta? Chevy Sonic? Honda Fit? All gone. One by one, automakers have killed off their smallest, cheapest models and replaced them with higher-margin SUVs and crossovers. Why? Because profit margins. A small car might earn a few $100s in profit. But a crossover or SUV? That's thousands, sometimes tens of thousands per unit. So from a business standpoint, automakers realized, why build cars that barely make money when buyers are willing to pay more for bigger vehicles? It's the same reason you see compact SUVs everywhere now. They were not really compact, they're just more expensive hatchbacks. And consumers, often without realizing it, helped kill cheap cars by chasing bigger, better options. Let's talk about money, because it's not just about the sticker price anymore. In the last few years, inflation has hit the auto industry hard. Raw materials like steel, aluminum, lithium, and nickel, all crucial for cars, have soared in price. Then add global supply chain problems, chip shortages, and higher labor costs. But the real killer? Interest rates. A few years ago, you could get a car loan at 2 or 3%. Now, average rates are 6 to 8%, and that changes everything. The average monthly payment for a new car in America has crossed $750. That's insane, especially when you realize that's about what people used to pay for luxury models. Even used cars are now averaging over $26,000, with many models barely a few years old. In short, cars haven't just become expensive to buy, they've become expensive to own. Governments around the world, especially in the US and Europe, have been pushing automakers toward cleaner, safer, and smarter vehicles. It's a noble goal, but it has side effects. To meet emissions rules, even gas cars now use turbochargers, hybrid systems, and advanced exhaust treatments. To meet crash safety rules, vehicles need more structure, more airbags, and smarter sensors. All great for safety, but all terrible for cost. And as EV mandates tighten, automakers have to spend billions on new factories, software systems, and battery supply chains. Guess who pays for that? Not the companies, the buyers. In 2026, the average new car in America costs over $48,000, the highest in history. And no regulation is rolling that back anytime soon. So maybe you're thinking, fine, I'll just buy used. But even that safety net is disappearing. During the pandemic, when new car supply collapsed, everyone rushed to buy used. That demand never fully cooled off. Now, used car prices are locked in a strange loop, too high for bargain hunters, and too valuable for sellers to trade in. Even a 5-year-old Toyota Corolla can sell for over $20,000. That's wild, and it shows how affordability has collapsed across the entire market. We've entered a world where cars hold their value better, but new buyers can't enter the market at all. Here's the harsh truth. Automakers don't want cheap cars anymore. The industry has shifted from volume to value. 10 years ago, selling 1 million cheap cars was good business. Today, selling half that number at higher prices is better business. Less manufacturing, less warranty risk, higher margins. Add to that the rise of subscription features, things like heated seat activations, software updates, and driver assist upgrades that you pay for monthly, and the strategy becomes clear. They're not just selling you a car. They're reselling you a service model that keeps money flowing long after you've driven off the lot. Automakers aren't just building transportation anymore, they're building ecosystems of revenue. We're entering a new era, one where traditional car ownership might become a luxury. Subscription cars, shared mobility, autonomous taxis, these are the trends quietly replacing cheap ownership. For younger generations, especially Gen Z, the math just doesn't add up. Why buy a $40,000 car when you can rent, share, or use public transport? Cities are evolving, and so is mindset. The car is no longer a rite of passage, it's a financial burden. And that is exactly what automakers and tech companies are betting on, that fewer people will own and more will subscribe. There's also psychology at play. When prices go up slowly, people adjust. You tell yourself it's just inflation or better features or new safety tech, but what's really happening is price normalization. We've been conditioned to accept $50,000 cars as normal. We've been told electric cars must be expensive because they're advanced. And we've been led to believe affordability means cheap quality. That's how you erase the concept of a cheap car, not through policy, but through psychology. So, will cheap cars ever come back, realistically? No, at least not in the way we remember them. The economics just don't make sense anymore. Between regulations, material costs, and corporate priorities, the system isn't built to make cars affordable again. The only hope lies in new technology, smaller EVs, modular platforms, and emerging markets where low-cost innovation still thrives. Companies like BYD in China or Tata in India are experimenting with ultra-affordable EVs under $15,000, but getting them into the US market is nearly impossible due to safety and import rules. So unless something radical changes, the American dream of owning a cheap new car is gone for good. Cars have always been symbols of freedom. But in 2026, that freedom comes with a price tag higher than ever. We're reliving through the end of an era, one where mobility was accessible to almost anyone. Now, cars are becoming luxury goods, wrapped in tech, sold as subscriptions, and priced out of reach for millions. The question isn't whether prices will fall. It's how long people will keep playing along. Thanks for watching Car Hacks and Money. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button. It really helps more people see the truth behind the industry. And subscribe for more deep dives into the real costs of driving in 2026 and beyond. Because one thing's certain, the future of cars isn't just about speed or style. It's about survival.